And now, ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing for the American National Anthem. And now, ladies and gentlemen, round one in our Mountain Motor Pro Stocks, the 6-second, 220-mile-per-hour factory hot rods coming up to the starting line. The first pair will be in the right lane. That's the Napa lane. It'll be Larry O'Brien and the Bears Performance Products, Hemi Dodge, and Dean Goforth, Dean's Racing Service, Black Diamond Motorsports, Chevy Camaro. The two most evenly matched cars from qualifying, as your number 4 qualifier, Dean Goforth, matches up with the number 5 driver, Larry O'Brien. Dean Goforth, the dad of Kerry Goforth, in a very important round for Dean Goforth. They want as many of these Black Diamond Racing, Dean Casing Service automobiles to remain in eliminations to give them additional data and perhaps to play a role later on to do a little blocking for Kerry Goforth, as we all know, who came into eliminations number 1 in the points by 3 points over Trevor Eamon. And already Kerry Goforth has seen a little bit of that lead nibbled away by Trevor Eamon's better qualifying performance. Trevor Eamon picked up a point in qualifying by qualifying number 2. Kerry Goforth number 3 with that lights out 6:38 that he ran in his second and final qualifying pass. So for Larry O'Brien, well, he certainly doesn't have anything riding on this run in terms of the championship, but he would like nothing better than to scramble up the plans of his opponent and that team as they try to nail down the championship this year for Kerry Goforth. Larry O'Brien, the old pro, one of the true geniuses in Mountain Motor Pro Stock, designs Hemi engines, designed his own engine, cylinder heads, all kinds of trick speed equipment, and he's going to put those all to work right now against Dean Goforth. And Larry O'Brien leaves too soon. He goes double. Make that triple 007, runs a 6:37 out the back door, might have gotten the win light. Instead, he hands it away to Dean Goforth, 6:39 at 2:20. So Dean Goforth will advance to the semifinals at the expense of Larry O'Brien going 007 red. Wow. So that may be a harbinger of things to come for that Black Diamond Dean Casing Service team, as Goforth in the left lane, the same lane where Kerry Goforth ran that 6:38 in his second and final qualifying pass. He makes that stick with that 6:39. Next pair up, getting ready, will be the teammates, as I mentioned, be Kerry Goforth, defending champion, number 1 in the points coming in, and the number 3 qualifier as eliminations begin, going up against John DeFlorian. And I would have to tell you right now that this is going to be a winner-take-all run. I do not expect anything you might call team orders coming into effect right here. These guys are going to race for the finish line, because if Kerry Goforth wants to win this championship, he's going to have to earn it. And he'd be the first one to tell you he doesn't expect to win it unless he works every inch of the way. So, Goforth, left side out of Holdenville, Oklahoma. Against the national record holder, both ends, John DeFlorian. And DeFlorian, in his final qualifying pass, went 6:42. And that was a big improvement over what he ran last night. Not as much of an improvement as that team wanted. They were hoping to get into the 6:30s earlier today on that qualifying pass. It was just not to be, but he seems to think he's got a whole lot more race car right now than he's had for most of the season. Goforth, two-time IHRA champion, won the championship on the final day of the season the last 2 years. And you know what? If he wins it this year, that'll be 3 years in a row he wins the World Championship on the final day. He has been a champion in the IHRA, ADRL, PDRA. Last year, won championships in both sanctioning bodies. Make that 2 years ago, and a Mountain Motor Pro Stock Association championship as well. So the most important championship for this guy right now is the one for this year that he could very well nail down. And don't believe for 1 second that Trevor Eamon is not watching very carefully right here, because he is in the catbird seat waiting for Kerry Goforth to make a mistake, stumble, and not get the win light, which would throw the door wide open for Team Aruba to pick up the championship. Let's watch. Kerry Goforth, left lane. John DeFlorian, right lane. The teammates. First round, Mountain Motor Pro Stock. Goforth leaves lane, moves over to the left, and has to shut off the automobile. Kerry Goforth watches John DeFlorian go the distance. We do not have an ET or speed for John DeFlorian, but right now that's academic. DeFlorian may have jumped the gun so that he did not get the timers engaged, and that means that Kerry Goforth is out in the first. Oh, well, if DeFlorian jumped, then we're looking at a victory for Kerry Goforth. Let's talk to race control. DeFlorian left before the tree was activated. Race control telling me right now that gives the victory to Kerry Goforth. Oh, my, what a turn of events. And you saw Goforth get out of shape there, a couple of 100 feet out, brought the car back into the middle. But by then, he had already won the race. Since DeFlorian left so soon, the tree had not even been activated. Wow. The plot continues to thicken here in Mountain Motor Pro Stock. Goforth lives to fight another day, and in case I didn't mention it, Kerry Goforth, Trevor Eamon on the same side of the eliminations ladder. And right now coming up is that Trevor Eamon in the right lane, and the Team Aruba Ford Mustang representing the Aruba Airport Authority, Aruba Tourism, and ArubaThings.com. And everybody behind that team right now keeping their fingers and toes crossed that Trevor Eamon can get around Matt Birch in the left lane, the defending event champion. Matt Birch came in the number 7 qualifier, 6:43. And as we all know, Trevor Eamon had a couple of really good representative qualifying passes. His better one from last night running 6:38.3. And until J.R. Carr pulled that rabbit out of a hat in the last qualifying session, Trevor was the number 1 qualifier. He has seen Kerry Goforth win his first round. So Matt Birch, Father Bob, trying to play the role of the spoiler right here. A win light in the left lane would end the championship hopes for Trevor Eamon. As I mentioned, Matt Birch, the defending event champion, and a guy who certainly has more than enough race car underneath him to make life very difficult for the Team Aruba automobile. Each team checking and double checking everything. So much riding on the line here for that car in the right lane. Trevor Eamon wants to be good on the tree, keep the car in the groove, and he's hoping he can pull up another 630 something right here that'll close out Matt Birch. And Matt Birch knows he's going to have everything going his way to pick up the victory here in the first round. Ford versus Ford. Champion perhaps to be in the right lane. We shall see. Better reaction time for Birch. Will it pay off up top? No, it won't. Trevor Eamon, 6:36. He picks up 0.02 of a second from his qualifying time, and he'll move into the semifinals to face Carrie Goforth. It will be the decisive round in the championship hunt this year in the semifinals. Matt Birch, 6:43 at 2:17. Not quite good enough. He had 0.04 of a second advantage off the starting line. But Trevor Eamon, Ford Mustang, John Kazi Power, he was able to get around Matt Birch. And now his fate is in his own hands in the next round. Wow.
Yep, next round he runs Goforth for all the marbles.
That leaves one more pair here in Mountain Motor Pro Stock, and that will be the number one qualifier, J.R. Carr, up against Dwayne Rice. J.R. Carr in the Agra Pack, Chevy Camaro, number one qualifier. And Dwayne Rice over here on the tower side out of Grove City, Ohio, in his Chevy Camaro. And J.R. Carr ambushed everybody in that last qualifying session, coming up with that brilliant 6:36 at 218 miles an hour. And J.R. Carr will be facing Dwayne Rice, a longtime drag racer in the left lane who qualified on the bump. Number 8, 6:46. So many great people behind that Dwayne Rice team. Gary Bingham and Renee Bingham of Godspeed Ministries, part of that great racing family down there. Guy who's got a lot of sportsman drag racing experience, has been in Mountain Motor Pro Stock for a while. And how big a feather would it be in his cap to get around the number one qualifier right here, this first round of eliminations. Meanwhile, J.R. Carr is thinking back to how he played in the championship hunt a year ago when he beat John Montecalvo in Memphis, when Montecalvo had a shot at catching Carrie Goforth for the championship. Carr beat Montecalvo, and that handed the title over to Carrie Goforth. It looks like JR's got him covered. He does. Another 6:36 for J.R. Carr. They are on to something on that team. 6:36, 220, 6:44, 2:16 for Dwayne Rice. The J.R. Carr in his car is going to go to the semifinals, and he'll race Dean Goforth. 6:36 with a 0 for J.R. Carr. And that is going to give him lane choice in the semifinals against Dean Goforth. Although I got to tell you, both lanes all weekend long have been fairly even with really good numbers coming up on both sides of the racetrack. So, those are your matchups for the semifinals of Mountain Motor Pro Stock. J.R. Carr, Dean Goforth, and the run that the entire drag racing world will be watching, the semifinals, when Trevor Eamon matches up with Kerry Goforth. And the winner will go on to claim the 2016 IHRA Mountain Motor Pro Stock Championship. It's the run we've all been waiting for. All right, we're going to get to our AMSOIL Nitro Funny Cars. We've also got our Nitro motorcycles in the lanes, and the Pro Mods will be coming up soon, and we'll just keep on trucking here right through our first round of eliminations. As soon as the IHRA crew is through spraying the track with some secret sauce, we will move forward and bring up the AMSOIL Nitro Funny Cars. Ladies and gentlemen, for anybody that's down near the starting line, anywhere in that area, and you are smoking cigarettes, please, we ask that you don't stomp them out on the racetrack or the surrounding surface. That would be great. Trying to keep it clean and safe for our racers.
You used to have such fun together. Romantic dinners, long weekends, concerts. But multiple billing cycles later, it was clear you selected the wrong credit card. Skip the awkward first dates and go to nerdwallet.com, where you can instantly see the ideal credit card match for you. Whether you want to rack up travel miles for the next festival or just want to stay at home and snuggle in your rewards, you can be absolutely sure you chose the best credit card. Go to nerdwallet.com now and find your perfect match. That's nerdwallet.com.
And the engines come to life in the first pair of AMSOIL Nitro funny cars that'll be coming to the line. It'll be John Hale, left side, the one bad Texan, Chevy Camaro, and Mark White out of Chicago, Illinois, and the Frank Ausleone Crop Duster. Similar situation in the eliminations ladder that we had in Pro Stock. Jason Rupert, the points leader, on the opposite side of the ladder from the number 2 points holder, Sean Bowen, and the number 3 points holder, Mike McIntyre Jr. The only way Rupert would be able to face either one of those drivers would be in the final round, but that could be academic because Jason Rupert's already set a new national record and has picked up another 20 points. That could help put him completely out of reach. That remains to be seen. Right now it's the John Hale and Mark White show as Mark White out of Chicago, number 4 qualifier against the number 5 driver right here. John Hale this year doing double duty, as you know, running that Jim Dunn-owned funny car, NHRA side. But he loves the nostalgia cars. Always loves coming to an IHRA race and running in these AMSOIL Nitro funny cars. He's a real throwback. See if Mark White has got enough to take care of John Hale here in the first round. Better light for White. Top end. There's your win light. Mark White on a 0.02 of a second hole shot. As I mentioned, he had a better reaction time, and that means a win light in the right lane. 578 at 241 beats the 576, the quicker time and the faster speed, 255. So Mark White, accomplished drag racer, a lot of time in alcohol funny cars, and here he is in the AMSOIL Nitro funny cars, and all that experience paid off right there. They are checking top end of the racetrack, making sure the cars are clear down there at the turnoff. And when all is in shape down there, I'm going to get to our next pair of AMSOIL Nitro funny cars. Jason Rupert right now on the doorstep of his 3rd consecutive IHRA AMSOIL Nitro funny car world championship. Took a big step by setting that national record. Came into this event 18 points ahead of Sean Bowen. Sean Bowen was 10 points ahead of Mike McIntyre Jr. Mathematically, it's still up for grabs, but certainly a whole lot less so since Rupert broke the national record. Here comes Sean Bowen. Be up against Greg Jacobsmeyer have a couple of Mopars going head-to-head here in round one. They call him Jake. Greg Jacobsmeyer, right lane in the All-Star Dodge. And Jake comes into the first round of eliminations as the number 6 qualifier's best of a 5.87. And he could play a big-time spoiler right now as Sean Bowen comes in the number 3 qualifier, went 5.69. And he is still looking to put the squeeze on Jason Rupert, but time is running out. And Jason Rupert has yet to run here in the first round. So Sean Bowen has got to do his part to stay alive. But in order to do that, he's going to have to beat a very good race car in the right lane. Sean Bowen, a 2-time winner this year. One of the reasons why he is in the championship hunt. Performance-wise, he's a country mile away from Jason Rupert, elapsed time-wise. But he's won more races this year than Jason Rupert has. Sean with 2 wins, Jason with 1. Throw in another runner-up for Sean Bowen, and you can see why he has done so well this year and finds himself where he is, at least with a shot at a world championship. All the teams can do right now is watch. Left lane, Bowen. Right lane, Jacobsmeyer. Who is going to get there first? Little tire shake, and Jacobsmeyer drives through it, but Bowen is out on him and gets the win light. 5.69, 240 miles an hour, and so Sean Bowen pretty much stays within that same elapsed time range. We see a puff of smoke up there at the top end. And there we go. Oh, the sound of music. Mike McIntyre Jr., Bruce Litton, just to review and discuss. First pair of cars out, Mark White took care of John Hale on a hole shot. On the other side of the ladder, it was Sean Bowen getting around Greg Jacobsmeyer. And as we all saw, Bowen with the oil down, it cost him 10 points. We'll see if that plays into the championship. But right now, Mike McIntyre Jr. left side there in the McIntyre Camaro to keep whatever hopes he has left of winning the championship alive. He's got to beat Litton. A couple of years ago, Mike Jr. climbed into the driver's seat, which was occupied by Mike Sr. His rookie year, boy, he got off to a red-hot start, 2014. Winning races, setting records, and then completely cooled off and allowed Jason Rupert to come from behind and get the title. Last year, the scenario completely the opposite. Rupert off to a red-hot start. McIntyre didn't get things together till late in the season, but by then, Rupert wrapped up his second consecutive championship. What will happen this year? Can Mike McIntyre pull off a miraculous Garrison finish here in 2016 and make a serious stab at the title? Well, right now, he's got to get through round one. And to do that, the guy waiting for him in the right lane, Bruce Litton, an old pro, a seasoned veteran, is going to play the role of the spoiler. Believe you me. McIntyre came into this race third in the points, 10 points behind Sean Bowen, who is 18 points behind Jason Rupert. Mark Sanders did not qualify, and that took him right out of the picture. Can Mike McIntyre keep his championship hopes alive? No matter how slim they may be, we're about to find out. McIntyre has run 2 career bests so far, runs another 5.61 as his crew goes vertical. 5.61 at 2.53 easily beats the 5.90 and 2.40 of Bruce Litton. For the second consecutive time, Mike Jr. runs a 5.61. He ran a 5:61.7 in qualifying, that 5:61.6 on the scoreboard, a new career best. And he couldn't have picked a better time to do it, as that team continues to pick up steam here as we get closer and closer to resolving the championship hunt. Yikes. Jason Rupert, the final pair, along with Richard Hartman. Jason Rupert has been sitting here watching what has been unfolding in front of him. The two drivers closest to him in the standings have both won their first-round matchups. Jason Rupert has set a new national record. We know he's picked up 20 bonus points. But if he doesn't win this first-round matchup, he is in serious jeopardy of losing the title. All the pressure on the red, white, and blue car in the right lane. Make that the left lane. In the right lane, Richard Hartman. Rupert, so far this year, has had his ups and has had his downs. At times, he has easily been the quickest car of the weekend. And yet, he only has one victory. That coming in the second race of the year back in San Antonio. Been the runner-up a couple of times this year. But he is the only driver in this category in 2016 who has run consistently in the 550s. With those kinds of numbers, you would think he could run away and hide and get this championship locked up earlier in the season. It has not happened. Spoke to him last night. He says, you know what? We made some mistakes this year. It cost us. Other people made mistakes, but we're the kind of team that shouldn't be making them at the expense of our championship hopes. Richard Hartman, another driver, looking to be a spoiler here and have some kind of a role in deciding this year's championship. Rupert, 560, 257 miles an hour, 572 or 253 for a very game Richard Hartman. Not a 550s run that time for Jason Rupert, surprisingly, but enough to get the win light. He's backed up the record. No sense in trying to rotate the earth anymore. It's all about getting win lights, and that first round victory is another giant step for Rupert to nail down the championship. 560 at 257. That sets up our semifinal matchups. It will be Jason Rupert, Mark White, Jason Rupert with lane choice, and Mike McIntyre Jr. on the other side of the ladder will be racing Sean Bowen. Now, if Jason Rupert can outdistance these other two drivers and get the championship, it still leaves second place in the points wide open between McIntyre Jr. and Sean Bowen, a critical semifinal matchup for those two drivers who, if not mathematically out of the championship race, certainly going head-to-head for the number 2 spot. And here come the Nitro motorcycles. And what a chain of events we have seen unfold in this category this weekend. We'll be talking about Bob Malloy and his quest to overtake Jay Turner in just a moment. But the first pair coming up, Frank Capone, Jake Storter. Frank Capone for Tracy Kyle's Bad Apple Racing Team left side, and Jake Storter, who got off to a red-hot start this year, was the runner-up to Randall Andrus way back in Orlando, and it looked for a while as if Jake was going to make a run at the championship this year. It looked as if he just might have enough firepower to give Jay Turner a run for his money. Such was not the case, but both of these drivers looking for their first victory 2016 in the final race of the season. So a lot on the line for these two races. Storter out on Capone, but loses fire. And look at that. Frank Capone drives around Jake Storter and gets the win light. Capone, 666 at 194, beats the 730 at 134. Frank Capone, he was behind at 330 feet. He was behind at the 8th mile, and then problems for Jake Storter, and Capone goes right around him and picks up the first round victory. And 2 more coming to life. And it will be Bob Malloy, Russ Sowers. Malloy right side in the Napa lane. Russ Sowers out of McKean, Pennsylvania, left side. And this is a massive round for Bob Malloy. Bob Malloy, your current national record holder, running that 6.204. Butts Creek won the race, put himself right in the championship hunt. Missed a race this year, may have cost him. But right now, with Jay Turner not in the field, having not qualified, and Malloy 114 points behind Turner coming in, tell you what, this first round matchup against Russ Sowers will have a lot to say about whether Malloy can catch Jay Turner today. And Bob Malloy loses fire. Russ Sowers fighting the motorcycle to keep it away from the center line. And he does and wins. And Malloy is out. Very reminiscent of what happened in qualifying last night when Bob Malloy was in the left lane, launched the bike, drive belt came loose. And that was at the same time that Jay Turner could not get his bike to the starting line in that first qualifying session when his clutch went. Give the win to Russ Sowers in a huge upset that will pretty much decide the championship this year. So Jay Turner, who certainly would have preferred to race for the title and certainly race for the event championship, is on the sidelines when the rider that's closest to him in the points loses in the first round on a major upset. Tough break for Bob Malloy, but certainly that team has nothing to be ashamed of and put on quite a show this year. He will leave the 2016 season unless something very unexpected happens with a brand new IHRA Nitro motorcycle, a lapse time record. And Bob Malloy certainly will give everybody something to think about as we head into the 2017 season. He will be a guy to be reckoned with. Soon as we get the track clear and ready for the next pair, they'll be coming up. And we are going to jump right back into the pro category at the conclusion of the pro modifieds, which are coming up after the Nitro motorcycles. So there won't be much downtime in between eliminations rounds due to the lateness of our start, and that's good for all of us as we'll get a lot of drag racing in and as little time as possible and settle these championships. Engines coming to life behind the water box. Ty Tharp running out of the Jay Turner Racing Stable this weekend, and Ricky House, the Texan, the Nitro Shark, right side, making his burnout. couple of guys that have come oh so close to winning an Ironman this year. Ty Tharp, your runner-up in Budds Creek, Maryland, to Bob Malloy. And Ricky House, runner-up to Jay Turner in San Antonio. And again, a couple of guys that would like to get to the victory circle this year with their last opportunity to do it today. Ty Tharp, East Bend, North Carolina, home for him. And Ricky House, one of the true veterans of the sport. Been down many a quarter mile. And he'd like to get down this one quicker than Ty Tharp right now. Better reaction time by a bunch for Ty Tharp. Can House get around him? Can't do it. 6:50, 208 miles an hour. Pretty good looking run for Ty Tharp. 6:45 at 2:17, and that reaction time, the difference there is a 0.05 of a second hole shot for Ty Tharp is going to send him to the semifinals. Ty Tharp had an 0.8 of a final pair coming at you, Tracy Kyle and Jason Pridemore. Pridemore, the gunslinger from Garrettsville, Ohio. Very unique motorcycle, a lot of hand-fabricated and very distinctive features on that bike. The true work of drag racing art. Tracy Kyle, the Bad Apple, the left lane, twice in Canada, runner-up to Jay Turner in Grand Bend and Edmonton. He'd like to pick up a win right here. Win this event title, and for a while, Tracy was in position to overtake Jay Turner for the championship. Pridemore up in smoke. Tracy Kyle getting down that left lane. Puts up a 6:63, 196 miles an hour. So Tracy Kyle will move to the semifinals. Here are your semifinal matchups in Nitro Motorcycle. It'll be Russ Sowers with that big upset over Bob Malloy taking on Frank Capone, who got around Jake Storter, and Tracy Kyle, as you just saw, beating Jason Pridemore, will be matching up with Ty Tharp in the semis. And our final category to go here in the first round of pros is the Pro Modifieds. With that championship locked up, we'll be waiting to see if Billy Harper can add an IHRA Ironman to his collection. He'll have that Champions Trophy at the end of the day. But in the meantime, we've got Ricky Smith already setting the IHRA Pro Modified record, and Billy Glidden with an opportunity to take that top speed record away from Ricky Smith. This is Jason Hamstra now, the right side. He'll be singling down the right side. Harold Martin would have been his opponent here in this first round, but Harold Martin is not here at the racetrack after qualifying fifth, has decided not to continue into elimination, so that gives the free ride into the semifinals for Jason Hamstra, mechanical engineer out of DeMont, Indiana. Hamstra, the number 4 qualifier. That supercharged Ford Mustang. Team owner Kevin Hamstra keeping an eye on things. Crew standing by, waiting for Jason to stage that automobile. Has the right lane all to his onesies here in the first round. 526 cubic inches, supercharged, running on alcohol. But this year's championship will be won by a nitrous automobile. Laundry out early, 6:07 at 194 for Jason. But a good, safe, clean pass will move him easily into the semifinals.
Got it clear, 2 coming. It's time for pro start here, Josh.
And here comes your 2016 IHRA Pro Modified Champion, Billy Harper. The nitrous-injected Dodge Viper. He'll be next door to Dan Stevenson. That great-looking twin-turbo Chevy Camaro. Billy Harper with 2 victories on the season. In fact, Billy Harper, the only pro-modified driver, the IHRA this year, one of the regular touring IHRA Pro Mod regulars to come up with victories this year. Adam Flamholk won the first race of the year down in Orlando. We did not see him again. We had a different winner, Kevin McCurdy in Budds Creek, Maryland. And other than that, Billy Harper has pretty much been the guy to beat all season long. For Dan Stevenson, that's a new twin-turbo car, formerly the property of Ricky Smith, we talked about earlier. Dan Stevenson, a former nitrous oxide devotee, decided to move to the twin-turbo cars just on the basis of the fact that he'd had some pretty nasty fires and wanted to go a different route. Purchased this car from Ricky Smith, who tells me that that is one beautifully constructed race car right there in the left lane, and even from the cheap seats, you can see what a great piece of workmanship that Camaro is. So Dan Stevenson, left lane, came into elimination. The number 6 qualifier. And he is getting smoked by Billy Harper, 586.6. 240 miles an hour. So Billy Harper easily advances into the semis. Dan Stevenson, 631 at 184, as he did not get the run that he wanted, but Billy Harper certainly did. And he'll take that 586 at 240 into the semis. Final pair, Pro Modifieds. Once again, a clash of 2 twin-turbo automobiles. Billy Glidden, right side. Ruben Tetsushvili, left side. A lot of horsepower out there right now. We're from 25 to 2,800 horsepower twin-turbo cars. 540 cubic inch limit on these automobiles, 45 pounds of boost these cars can run. And these twin-turbo automobiles, you may not be that impressed with the first, couple of 100, 300 feet when they run. But let me tell you, on the back half, when these twin-turbo cars come to life, there are very few door cars in drag racing that cover that last 8th mile as quick and as fast as these twin-turbo Pro Modifieds. Ruben Tetsushvili told me that these cars proportionally will pick up as much speed in the second half of the racetrack as a Top Fuel dragster. They don't go as fast as those Top Fuel cars, but proportionally, that's where they get most of their speed. And when these cars are dialed in, they are capable of some mighty big numbers. So let's see if Billy Glidden can handle Ruben Tetsushvili right now. Glidden qualified number 2. Ruben sneaked in at number 7. Statistically, Ruben would be the underdog right here. But I just don't think there's any such thing as an underdog in this class. Better light for Billy. This will be a better elapsed time as Ruben has to shut off. As Billy Glidden goes 584, 248 miles an hour. And I believe that is going to back up that 250.98 mile an hour top speed. And he just took the top speed record away from Ricky Smith. Ricky had it at 247.25. Billy Glidden went 250.98 last night, goes 248.48 right here, and another record-setting run here at US 131. So that is wow with a capital W. Last pair, Pro Modified, Stan Klooster and, yep, Ricky Smith. Well, Don Klooster from Kalamazoo, racing, who many people consider to be just about the cream of the crop in Pro Modified racing in 2016. Ricky running here this weekend in preparation for that big race on the NHRA side coming up Labor Day weekend. But he also would love to win the race this weekend right here in Martin, Michigan. Every time he's out there, he wants to win. He's already set the ET record. Doesn't look like that's going to be taken away from him like the top speed record was. And again, I'd like to mention that Ricky is here this weekend, a week after the passing of his mom. And he said last night when I spoke to him that's another reason he's here this weekend, just to keep busy and try to handle the grief in the morning from losing his mom. And boy, he has certainly made the most of his time here this weekend with the kind of performance that we have seen. Don Klooster hoping to play the giant killer right here. Klooster qualified on the bump at number 8. And if he were to get around the number 1 qualifier right here, I would say that would be a stunning upset. Can he do it? Slightly better reaction time, but you saw that explosion. Here comes Klooster at the stripe. Oh, identical elapsed times, but Ricky Smith, by the skin of his teeth, picks up the first round victory. You saw the explosion, something amiss in the nitrous injection system, something up top on that engine just blew right through the hood scoop, and he coasted to the finish line just ahead of Don Klooster. The difference in the elapsed time, 4 thousandths of a second. Yikes. Ricky Smith advances to the semifinals by the slimmest of margins, while Klooster almost becomes the giant killer of the weekend. Hopefully Ricky not injured. Just a question of getting that car repaired, if possible, and getting back here for the semifinals. If he can make it, Ricky will match up against Jason Hamstra in the semifinals. Hamstra easily with lane choice. And Billy Glidden will match up against Billy Harper. The battle of the Billies in the semifinals, with Billy Glidden by 0.02 of a second picking up lane choice. Wow, now that'll have everybody chattering for a while, I'll bet. Engines coming to life. Mountain Motor Pro Stock semifinal round about to begin. And I cannot overstate the importance of this round. It is all coming down to this. Last couple of years, the last race of the season has been the backdrop for the Mountain Motor Pro Stock Championship. And in both of those instances, the driver in the left lane, Kerry Goforth, has been victorious. Once again, in 2016, we are going to the final race of the year to decide this category. Young Trevor Eamon, Team Aruba, and all the people on the island nation of Aruba right now are pulling for this young man to get around Kerry Goforth and move forward with a Mountain Motor Pro Stock Championship. But that Black Diamond Motorsports team in the left lane with Kerry Goforth, basically, they're saying, if you want it, you're going to have to take it away from us. Both of these cars all day long have been very equitable in performance. In the previous round, Trevor Eamon went 6:36, and Kerry Goforth, as you remember, ran his 6:36 in the second and final qualifying session to get into the field. So Team Aruba, Aruba Airport Authority, Aruba Tourism Bureau, ArubaThings.com, and all the people that support that team have got their fingers crossed right now as it's all coming down to Trevor Eamon, won his first career IHRA Ironman earlier this season and has two runners-up to go along with it. So he has had the best season of his IHRA career this year by far. Kerry Goforth, 2 victories this year, and has literally been the man to beat at almost every single race. But right now, he is the man that Trevor Eamon needs to beat if he wants to keep his championship hopes alive. Both drivers very gingerly staging their automobiles. Who will get the better reaction time? Who will get the better elapsed time? Who will get the win run? Almost identical reaction times. Watch the scoreboards. Dead even and at the stripe, Kerry Goforth by 0.03 of a second beats Trevor Eamon and has a clear field now to his third consecutive IHRA Mountain Motor Pro Stock Championship. Kerry Goforth, slightly better reaction time, but a 300 spread at the stripe. And his 6:31 at 2:21 is his best run of the weekend by far. And boy, for him, it could not come at a better time. 6:34 and 2:20 for a disappointed Trevor Eamon. Attention in the pit. Super Rod to the lanes, please. Super Rod to the staging lanes, please. Let's find out who will be racing Kerry Goforth in the final round. It'll be either J.R. Carr, the number 1 qualifier, and Dean Goforth, the father of Kerry. The possibility of an all Goforth final round. In a weekend where so much of the unlikely has happened, we have had a race filled with the unexpected. So what the heck? If we have Dean Goforth in the final round racing his son, well, just add that to the list of surprises. But J.R. Carr is going to have something to say about that over in the right lane in the Agri-Pack Chevy Camaro. J.R. Carr, the runner-up at our last race up in Edmonton, Canada, has come so close to picking up an Ironman this year. And what better time to do it than right now as we close out the 2016 season. And Dean Goforth, man, he has been revitalized this weekend. We have not seen him in a final round so far in 2016. And right now, he is that close to advancing to his first payoff round of 2016. The Dean Casing Service / Black Diamond Motorsports crew already celebrating the fact that their driver, Kerry Goforth, has just beaten the only driver who can stand in the way of his third championship. So now, The goal is to get Dean Goforth around J.R. Carr. Goforth, Carr, couple of Chevy Camaros right here. Sonny Leonard power. And quite different in terms of driving philosophy. Goforth, the old pro, J.R. Carr, kind of like the youngster. Who's got it? J.R. Carr, 635 at 207 miles an hour. Beats Dean Goforth's 641. Look at the speed for Goforth. Boy, that back half, he was trucking 218 miles an hour. But it's J.R. Carr who's going to pick up the win light and move to his second consecutive final. And another opportunity to pick up his first Ironman of 2016. He will face Kerry Goforth, who gets lane choice by 0.04 of a second. Nitromethane getting burned here behind the starting line in those V-twin motorcycles that make over 1,000 horsepower. And Frank Capone from Wakefield, Massachusetts will be in the left lane, going head-to-head with Russ Sowers out of McKean, Pennsylvania. A couple of racers from the Northeast. Russ Sowers, not a guy that we see very much during the IHRA drag racing season. In fact, this would be his first start of the year here in this final race of 2016. And Frank Capone racing out of the Tracy Kyle Bad Apple Racing Group, the left lane, won his first round matchup with Jake Storter, while Russ Sowers, as I mentioned, pulled off the major upset, beating Bob Malloy, round one. Now these two will decide who will fill up one half of that final round ladder. Nitro at night here at US 131 semifinals. Nitro Motorcycles and Russ Sowers right off the line is out of the game. Capone 650, 206 miles an hour, and that's much better than the 6.66 that he ran in round one. So Frank Capone, your first semifinal winner with a 650 at 206, and problems for Russ Sowers, and barely coasts across the finish line with a 22-second elapsed time at 52 miles an hour. So we now wait to see who will be racing Frank Capone in this final round. It'll be either his teammate Tracy Kyle or Ty Tharp, teammate to Jay Turner. We'll wait for Russ Sowers to make the turn and clear the top end of the racetrack before we get the call to fire up the next two bikes. And I want to remind you that those jet trucks are coming back. Oh, they are going to light up the night here. Dave Motter and Hayden Prophet II put on a great show just a little while ago, and they're refueling those jets and getting them all tuned up and dialed in, and we'll be coming out here again in just a bit. Well, we got a couple more classes here to finish in the semifinal round, and a couple more bikes here in the Nitro Motorcycles to settle the other half of the final matchup. Tracy Kyle, win or lose, has had a pretty successful campaign this year. He was the runner-up at both of our Canadian races, both times coming up short to Jay Turner. Has a number one qualifying performance to his credit so far this year, and qualified number two here this weekend. So when that bike is running at full performance, it's as quick as anything out there. Ty Tharp was your runner-up down in Budds Creek, Maryland, against Bob Malloy. And Ty Tharp running with the Jay Turner group this weekend. Number 6 qualifier for Ty Tharp. And he took care of Ricky House in the first round, as you'll remember. So let's see if he can do the same to Tracy Kyle right here. Both very quick motorcycles. Let's see if they can both get all the way down. Fire going out in left lane, but not before he picks up the win light. 6:42 for Tharp. 198 miles an hour. Tracy Kyle coming from behind just couldn't get enough oomph up there. And his 7:06 at 1:52 gets outpowered by Tharp. So, Tharp for Jay Turner. Thank you, Mark, Mr. Explosive Sanders. And if I know Mark Sanders, yeah, that team will be back, and they'll be tougher than ever next time around. Okay, here we go. Semifinals of Pro Modified. This will be a single run, right lane for Jason Hamstra. So, thanks to the misfortune of Ricky Smith, Jason Hamstra will get the free ride into the final round. So how about that? Jason Hamstra, young man who we have not seen on the IHRA Pro Modified Tour here in 2016. And, well, he shows up here this weekend, him and his dad, and as luck would have it, they qualified, got into the qualified field. They have advanced now through eliminations to the semifinals and find themselves all alone on the racetrack and getting the free pass into the final round. And that's the kind of weekend any drag racer can certainly hope to have. Hamstra, former champion in the sportsman ranks, Pro Outlaw dragster champion back in 2004, if I'm not mistaken. This year he probably has the kind of race car that could have challenged for the Pro Mod Championship had they raced regularly on the schedule. Right now, it wouldn't be a bad way for him to end the IHRA season with an Ironman, and he's one step closer right here. .586, 248 miles an hour. Ladies and gentlemen, 248.07 miles an hour could have been a new speed record in the IHRA if it wasn't for Billy Glidden, who ran that 250.98. So how about that for a strong single run? 586 is about 0.03 of a second away from the new national elapsed time record that Ricky Smith set this weekend. So that was a pretty burly run for that Hamstra kid in the right lane all by himself. And he powers into that final round with a run that could be big trouble for either Billy Glidden or Billy Harper. We're going to come out here and fill out the second half of our Pro Mod final round ladder. And what a beauty this ought to be. How about some real muscle in both lanes? I mean real Pro Modified muscle. Tough stuff, right lane and left. Billy Glidden and Billy Harper making their burnout. Billy Glidden, a former nitrous-injected Pro Mod drag racer, and he has switched to twin turbo power. And you know what? He has been able to get that car dialed in maybe a whole lot quicker than other fellas that have made that jump. Those twin turbo cars, very finicky. I mean, you're talking about very delicate tuning for the fuel curve and the boost and all that other stuff that I don't completely understand. All I know is that you talk to these guys who tune these cars, they sound like they should be working for NASA. Billy Harper, there you go, clearing that nitrous oxide system with a push of the button. And Harper, your brand new 2016 IHRA Pro Modified champion, would love to put the cherry on top of the ice cream with a win this weekend. But to do it, he's going to have to beat the guy who has the new IHRA top speed record at over 250 miles an hour. The last round, Billy Glidden ran a 584, backed up his 250 with a 248. Billy Harper with a 586 200s off of that pace. So you can't say that Billy Glidden has a huge statistical advantage at this point if you base it on their average elapsed times this weekend. But those twin turbo cars make so much top-end power, the back half of the quarter mile, they are just screaming. And Harper knows that. There are a lot of nitrous oxide Pro Mod drivers that'll leave on a twin turbo car breathe a little easier at the 8th mile than to say, hey, what just went by me? See what happens right now. Both drivers got to be on their game on the starting line. Let's see who's going to go to the final round here at the Northern National. Better light for Billy Glidden. He treed Billy Harper. Can Billy Harper make it up? Cannot do it on a hole shot. Whoa, Billy Glidden, 583. Look at the speed. 256.26 miles an hour. I got to get out my calculator. If his 250.98 will back up that 256.26 rather, we've got another national record. 580, 246 for Billy Harper. That is a new IHRA Pro Modified elapsed time mark. We'll have to see if he backed that up. The numbers are flying out of here. I can't keep up with them. Ricky Smith ran a 583.1 to set the new record. The old record owned by Billy Harper with a 583.2. Now Harper comes back, loses in the semifinals on a hole shot, but may get the record back. And he wins the championship this year. What have I left out? Unbelievable. And with that, we go to the Amsoil Nitro Funny Cars. Mike McIntyre, Sean Bowen. Well, while we're on the subject of mathematics, let's see if I can explain this to you. Mike McIntyre Jr. in the left lane still has a shot at the championship. Sean Bowen in the right lane, mathematically, still has a shot. But for Mike McIntyre to get around Sean Bowen and make life difficult for Jason Rupert, who still has the points lead, Mike McIntyre has to run the national record. He needs the 20 points he would get for setting a new national record. The national record is 5:57.8, which was set by Jason Rupert this weekend. He's got to run better than a 5:57.8. He's already got the backup with his 5:61. It's the only way he can win the championship. Sean Bowen has got to beat Mike McIntyre Jr. if he can remain in the running, and then hope and pray that in the next pair, Jason Rupert loses. Everybody follow that? Let's see what happens. Bowen is all done. Mike McIntyre rocking down the left lane. 5:61. Another 5:61. That's 3 in a row. And 257.88 miles an hour. A very strong pass. However, it's not the national record, but they've got another round to go. They will go to the final round and have another shot. All right, here comes Jason Rupert. And he will have a single in the left lane. Mark White not making the call. So, all eyes, literally and figuratively, on Jason Rupert. He gets the free pass into the final round. And that, ladies and gentlemen, may be enough for that team to lock down the championship. We will know officially once this run is over, we do the math, and if it's at all possible for Mike McIntyre to catch Jason Rupert with a national record and a victory in the final round, that would be something else. But we are still crunching the numbers up here. New national record under his belt. Now a chance at the Ironman. In the final round, boy, that car looks like it's loaded up again. What's he got? 550, 570, 261.32 miles an hour. 4/10 of a mile an hour away from a new speed record, but a new elapsed time record for Jason Rupert, 5.557, as that team just continues to knock the clocks right out of the ballpark. And he will move to the final round and look for his second victory of the year and to finally put a period on another championship season. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, moms and dads, and children of all ages, here we go. It is time for our final rounds of the IHRA Northern Nationals here at US 131 Motorsports Park. And here comes Carrie Goforth, your newly crowned 2016 IHRA Mountain Motor Pro Stock champion for the third consecutive year. This gives him 7 overall Pro Stock championships in 4 different sanctioning bodies. Is this guy a stud or what? As this year the Black Diamond Motorsports crew and the Dean's Casing Service crews got together, it was a bold move. They did it for economic reasons, and boy, has it worked out. So for Goforth to win his 4th race of 2016, he's going to have to beat J.R. Carr in the right lane. J.R. Carr looking for his first victory of 2016 in the Agri-Pac Chevy Camaro. Can J.R. Carr come up with the performance? He was the #1 qualifier, but Carrie Goforth went 6:31 in the last round. Take out Trevor Eamon, and let's see if he has the same kind of performance right here. Almost identical reaction times at the stripe. Yes, another 6:31, 221.35 miles an hour. And Carrie Goforth caps off a great 2016 season with the championship and the final round victory. So there is one happy bunch down there. 6:33 for J.R. Carr, 221 miles an hour. Certainly he gave it all he had, but it just was not enough, as the 2016 Mountain Motor Pro Stock season brings down the curtain with a Black Diamond Motorsports Amsoil Dean's Casing Service double trouble team pick up the championship and the Ironman this weekend. What a job they have done this year. And that brings us to our final in Nitro Motorcycle. Ty Tharp and Frank Capone will duke it out for the Nitro Motorcycle Honors. Ty Tharp, runner-up earlier this year down in Budds Creek, Maryland. And wouldn't he love to end this season and this race riding for the Jay Turner team, as Jay Turner iced the championship this weekend and never got down the racetrack. Came in with a big enough points lead in order to win the championship despite the DNQ. Here's his teammate, Ty Tharp, looking for his first Ironman of the year, and so is Frank Capone. This is his first year racing with Tracy Kyle and the Bad Apple team. So what a way to put a period on their season with a victory here. Let's see who's going to get it. We'll have a first-time winner this year. Ty Tharp, oh, comes up short to Frank Capone. Capone first off the starting line, and every single incremental down the track except for 330 feet. And at the 8th mile, he had the advantage. But at the finish line, Frank Capone picks up his first IHRA Ironman here at US 131. Lots of congratulations down there with that Bad Apple Racing team. And they are certainly going to be thrilled to end the 2016 campaign with that elusive event championship. Team owner Tracy Kyle, a two-time runner-up this year, up in Canada, came up short to Jay Turner at both Canadian races, but now his teammate Frank Capone gives them something to really celebrate after this 2016 campaign comes to an end. We have two more final rounds to get to, Pro Modified and AMSOIL Nitro Funny Cars. Pro Modified is going to be Billy Glidden and Jason Hamstra going head-to-head to decide who's going to get that Pro Mod Ironman trophy. And Billy Glidden, remember now, he ran an unbelievable, otherworldly 256.26 mile an hour top speed in his victory over Billy Harper on a hole shot in the last round. Billy Glidden could reset the top speed record here this weekend that has bounced around like a rubber ball. Ricky Smith went fast enough to set the record, 2:47.25. Dan Stevenson went 2:47 and could not come up with the record. And now here's Billy Glidden with a 256 mile an hour run under his belt, the fastest speed we've ever seen a Pro Mod go here in the IHRA. He's got to go between 253.70 miles an hour and 258.82 miles an hour to back up that 256. Meanwhile, Jason Hamstra, how about him? This youngster, somebody we have not seen this year in the Pro Modified ranks, going to the final round. Hamstra got a freebie into the final when Ricky Smith, unable to make the call in the semis. His big, bad, blown Ford Mustang, former Mike Janis car. This is a team very innovative. The first Pro Mod to run a Lenko Drive torque inverter some years ago. And that car has certainly had some impressive performance this weekend. But is it going to be enough to take down Billy Glidden, son of the great 10-time NHRA Pro Stock champion, Bob Glidden? Both drivers very delicately staging those cars. Twin turbo Mustang right lane, supercharged Mustang left. That's a Camaro right lane. Ford versus Chevy, Glidden versus Hamstra. Looks like Hamstra had some tire shakes, got to shut it off, and Billy Glidden also at the top end, you could see he was out of the power a little bit early and coast across 693, 144 miles an hour, but he'll take the win light. He will take the event, but will not be able to back up that new top speed record. So congratulations to Billy Glidden and that team as they will walk out of here with the Ironman trophy in the Pro Modified class. Mike McIntyre Jr. began the year runnering up to Sean Bowen back in Orlando. In fact, Mike McIntyre Jr. was the runner-up in 2 out of the first 3 races. If Mike McIntyre Jr. wins tonight, that will be his first victory of 2016. And isn't it amazing that with no victories this year, he still ran consistently enough to give Jason Rupert and Sean Bowen a run for their money. But once again, it will be Jason Rupert who will get the championship honors this season. Jason Rupert, left side. Mike McIntyre Jr., right lane. Jason Rupert, 5.557 seconds. That is the new national record. That is an elapsed time that he and the team feel they can even go quicker than right now. And remember, in the semifinals, he was in the left lane. He got lane choice. He's in the left lane again. He knows what to expect over there. Mike McIntyre Jr., he seems to think that that car has a 550 in it in this final round. His best runs have been 561, oh so close to getting into the 550s. So not only do they want the win light, but they would love to see that car go quicker and maybe even faster than it has ever gone before. And I hasten to remind you that a lot of times when teams just load those cars up, it doesn't always go as expected. It just takes the least little miscalculation in these AMSOIL Nitro funny cars when you're dialing in that tune-up, and things can go awry. But when they go right, you see the kind of numbers that Jason Rupert's been running not only this weekend, but all season long. It's in the hands of the drivers. They are pre-stage, less than a foot away from stage. There they go. Mike McIntyre shakes, stalls, and Jason Rupert 5:52.2, 262.54 miles an hour. He said he could do it, and he did it. That, ladies and gentlemen, is both ends of the IHRA AMSOIL Nitro Funny Car National Records on the last run of 2016. Phenomenal 2016 season in the AMSOIL Funny Car category.